Okay, so welcome everybody to the Updating Your Multimedia Project and ePortfolio webinar. Um, Raymond, I would like for you to ask those questions again later at the end, if you will, just to kind of I know some people jumped in, and we'll just touch on those because I think they're very important to kind of lower the stress level of people in the course. So let me go ahead. What I did is I created a little PowerPoint here to walk. Can y'all see the PowerPoint now?
Yes.
Okay. So really just some kind of key items that I wanted to touch on, some kind of tips and tricks for primarily for both of them, but then we'll kind of demonstrate some of these as we're moving through. And then others I'm not going to be able to demonstrate. It won't make sense to demonstrate because they're very contextual to your individual projects. But as you're moving through the multimedia project, first of all, pick which of your options. You know, it needs to be very clear to me which option you're selecting. So when I'm moving through and grading this, I shouldn't have to be trying to figure out which one it is. It should be pretty clear to me. If you even want to say option 1, option 2, option 3 in your submission, that's completely fine as well. And then today, one of the big things that we'll talk about is how we consider design and usability in creating and updating our multimedia projects. So an example of this is if we are using audio in our project, I can very easily create a link, a hyperlink that says, click here to listen to me talk about whatever. But I don't want to do that because then they got to click on it. Then I got to have it open in a new window. And then they got to close that window and then come back to the website and keep interacting with the content. What I want to do is I want to embed the audio as a player in my website. Likewise with video, I don't want to have a link to a video. I want to embed that video in my page so that as they're interacting and reading text and maybe interacting with various hyperlinks, there's a video there. I don't want them to click on a link, leave the page, and then have to close that page and come back. I just want them to be able to hit the play button, navigate through the video in whatever way is necessary, and then move on. So we'll talk about same thing with the narrated PowerPoint that you created. So how we want them to interact with that PowerPoint within the website as opposed to having to download the PowerPoint and then open it up, interact with it, and then go back to the website. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to talk about that today using various players. And Kompozer's a little bit trickier in that, not trickier, different in that it doesn't have the tools that Dreamweaver has embedded in it, but there are great resources online and some really easy ways to do this, and we'll talk about that today. Key items to keep in mind: number one, it's 200 points of your grade, so it's 20% of your overall grade in the course, and you must use at least 4 forms of media. And I've talked about this before, but text and hypertext count as one form together. Audio, video, graphics, those would be the 4 most commonly used ones. But then you have interactive video, hypermedia, other tools. So depending on how you use your narrative graphics layout media project, that could be an example of interactive media, hypermedia, just depends on how it's used. But very important to have at least 4 forms because you're starting off with pretty much a low B if you don't have at least 4 forms of media. And then this is another item I've talked about and kind of annoys some students, but there is no rubric for this. The checklist, if you address the feedback and thoughts and look at the content areas and the technical areas and the presentation areas of the audio project, the graphics layout, all the website shell, and kind of apply that feedback, then you're going to be fine, because that's kind of the purpose of it. There's 3 main areas: the content, the technical, and the presentation. The problem with a rubric in this case is they're different forms of media and they do different things, and they do different things well, and they do different things poorly, and they're different options and all. So it would be like a 4,000-page rubric that I would be sharing with you, and it would be more confusing than it would be helpful, in my opinion. So if you just follow those kind of general guidelines that we talked about in the course related to presentation of content, technical presentation, and then the design and usability, then you're going to be fine. And I'm happy to address questions on any of those as well. And then the last point on this slide is that you can use existing materials. So not all of this media has to be created by you. There are tons and tons of excellent media repositories out there. You are welcome to use them as you see fit. Obviously, if they're copyrighted materials, you want to follow copyright appropriately. If there are in credit appropriately as well. So, but you can use all of the other materials and compile them in a useful and meaningful way. And I do not have a problem with that at all. Okay, but you have been creating these pieces of media and multimedia in the course, so it would be a shame for you to not utilize those in your final project. So I would like to see those, but again, that's not a requirement either. So. Okay, so some tips. The first one is be clear. Content should be very clear. I should know what I'm looking at and why, what I'm getting out of the experience. Navigation should be clear. So when I'm navigating through the site, I should know whether I'm within the site, whether I'm going to a page outside of the site, whether I'm downloading a file. I should know how I'm interacting with all of the individual content based on what happens. So if something opens in a new tab or a new window, I should know that that's an external site. So that be very clear with your content. Provide a lot of guidance on how users are to interact with the various media, the various content, links, that sort of thing. Pay attention to design and usability. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm going to speed up a little bit just so we can do some of the techie stuff. But that'll be a good chunk of tonight. Be thorough. So, don't just put like little bullet points like you're doing a PowerPoint presentation. There needs to be a lot of structure, a lot of guidance, a lot of context for your product. Be intentional. So the two biggest things I would say are to be intentional and being contextual. So by intentional, I mean, when there's a piece of media, it should directly relate to the goals of the site, and the user should very clearly know how to interact with it. So if you're providing a web resource that's created by somebody else, so some other site that you want them to go to, and they go to it and there's 4 million links to click on and things to interact with, you need to provide very intentional guidance to them with how they should interact with what parts of that site. So if they only need to go to one link or only need to go to a couple links that and do certain things, look for specific pieces of information, you need to provide that guidance to them. Be very contextual. So everything should very clearly fit together. They should very clearly understand how and why they're interacting with these external pieces of media and how they fit with the overall site itself. Do not provide a list of resources without providing structured guidance. So that kind of touches on what I just said. Provide annotations. Don't just provide like a list of websites. Provide annotations, provide topics on how they're going to work with them and that sort of thing. Fill the gaps with existing resources. So, you've created these individual pieces of media. You have these ultimate goals for your project. So now you want to, you have some pieces that are missing. So maybe finding YouTube videos or other forms of media or web resources or whatever to fill in those gaps. Keep it simple. Don't get too complicated with this. Know your skill set. So, with a day left to submit it, don't start trying to, you're finished with everything. Don't start downloading a new web template with a bunch of CSS and responsive JavaScript coding that is going to, complicate things. So keep everything very simple. I understand this is a 6-week course. So I don't expect you to have, learned all of the intricacies of web authoring without having any experience. So I know there's people that entered the class with different levels of experience, people that are going to be, I want to see growth, but it doesn't necessarily need to be that you've mastered web authoring image editing, audio editing, and video editing all at one time. So don't overcomplicate things with this. And then make sure the content, the presentation, and the technologies all play well together. And we'll touch on this quite a bit tonight as well. Okay, so let me kind of run through the ePortfolio real quickly as well, so we can just kind of leave this and then stay in Kompozer for the remainder of the session. So we have 5 pages, the index, projects, links, readings, coursework, and resume. As I mentioned before, if you want to modify the links, readings page, you can do that. Just let me know what you would like to modify it to. Some things that you want to collect and work on at one time. Put all of your projects in a central location, and I'll talk about this a little bit today. Collect your resume and CV, and I'm not going to grade your resume and CV. We'll look at that in some other courses in the program. I may provide some comments, but one thing is that your resume will need to be on the web page, so as content on a web page, and then you will also provide a link to a PDF version. So have something that you can easily copy and paste into the web and then format, and then also have a Word or PDF document ready to go. You want to collect screenshots of your projects. So however you do screenshots, there's a downloadable tool. You can do a trial called Snagit at techsmith.com. You can use the print screen tool. You can crop and then crop if you're on a PC, or you can do Apple Shift 4 on a Mac. So, and it'll allow you to kind of drag and drop screenshots of your project. So my recommendation here would be to, for audio, just embed it. So don't worry about a screenshot of audio. For your graphics layout, maybe open your title slide and copy it, do a screenshot of it. And same thing for your web shell. Maybe just open it in a browser, take a screenshot of it, and use those as project illustrations, images for your projects on your projects page. Collect helpful links and seminal readings and the citation information with those. So any readings you're going to include. So you need 3 readings and 3 web resources. So they can be articles, they can be books, they can be things in this course, things that have helped you in life. Whatever you want to include as your readings. I'm not going to critique these, but this is your ePortfolio, so I would probably focus more on professional things. But if you have a specific area of focus, you might include some great readings there. And then helpful links can again be anything you want. And these will modify as you move through the programs as well. Collect images, like not just images for those, but like images for your banner and to kind of draw the user into your pages. And then any coursework that you're going to want to include on the courses page. So you might list your transcripts, and not list the transcripts, but you might list the number of courses directly with their name and number from your transcripts. On all pages, you need images. So a banner image would be sufficient, or maybe a footer image or something like that. You need to follow effective design principles. So the contrast, repetition, alignment, proximity, navigation, those sorts of things. And then all of them need an email link as well. And it looks like we got some chat windows. So, okay, let me go to the chat real quick. Good point, Brian. You can change. Yeah, if you are watching this, you can watch Richard Thripp talk at twice the speed on YouTube for playback, so it does make it go by faster. So we'll talk about, Mary, we'll talk about the resume. You're not going to be able to copy and paste it without losing the format. So sometimes a short resume is a good thing for an ePortfolio project, because then you just have to go in and do one page. My resume is about 58 pages right now, so I don't really want to go in and include my whole resume. So I would take like maybe my first page or something. Project screenshots. Yeah, Aaron, whatever projects you use, you're going to want screenshots from those. So it doesn't necessarily have to be this class, but or not just ones from this class, any projects you do. But if you can embed them, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so the pages on your email, on your index page, name, email, introduction to yourself. On the projects page, links to the projects and screenshots and descriptions. Links, readings, you just want a list of 3 of each, consistent formatting of the citations, brief annotations, so like a sentence or two, like this was a great book about, or this was a great article, or this is a great web resource on whatever. And then again, at least 3 of each. Coursework, just a list of courses, and we'll talk about that. Descriptions, if you want them, separated by term. And all I care about a graduate. If you want to include, your undergraduate degree earned on XX 2004 or whatever, I don't care. Then your resume vita, both a web version, which will be integrated into the site and the basic site design, and then a link to a PDF or Word version. So that's it for that. So now let's go into doing this stuff. So before I open up Kompozer, what I want to do is kind of show you my desktop real quick. So what I've sort of done is I created this folder last time called EME 6507 sites. Let me close this out. And last time we created an HTML ePortfolio, an ePortfolio using a template, the multimedia shell project, which we had, and I kind of updated that a little bit, and then a template that we're gonna play around with if we have time tonight. So what we're gonna do then is I'm going to just open up the multimedia shell. So let me go ahead and open up Kompozer, so bear with me. But real quickly before we do that, all I've done here is I've collected all of my content that I want into a single folder. So my multimedia shell, I have audio, I have video, I have images, I have this junk that I don't need. I have my 3 pages, I have my resume here, which I don't really need for my shell, so I'm going to do that. But maybe I have some media. Let me add in some audio here. Projects. So let me do these 2. Copy. And then so I've kind of collected all of the content that I'm gonna need for my site. So I've done that here, and then I've also done that for my ePortfolio. I have my projects, my project images, a miscellaneous folder. I have my site images and all this stuff. So I have all of the content that I need all in here, so that when I go to link to stuff and all that, it's all already placed there. Okay. So let me stop the share here. Move on. Kompozer, darn it, where's Kompozer? There we go. Okay, bear with me one moment. Here we go. Okay, everyone can see Kompozer okay? Yes, all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with my, my web shell. And I could call this the same thing. I could leave it as web shell. I can change it to I could just copy this whole folder and call it MM. And so if I wanted to illustrate both my shell and my final multimedia project, I could very easily just copy the whole thing. Does that make sense? Yes, no, no. Okay, well, all right, so hold on a second. Okay, so, but once I get everything done, that's when I would want to, well, we're just going to work from the web shell folder. So I'm going to open my index page. And right here, what might be useful, there's nothing big here. If I go to my split view, I can kind of see stuff here. What might be useful here would be to provide, instead of introductory text, maybe I have some introductory audio. Okay, so does that make sense, including audio? It's a good idea. So I want to put some introductory audio. So I have a few options here. One is I can just link to that. So I have, fortunately, audio in my audio file. So I go link, and then I click on the folder, find my audio file. It's in audio, and it's called Thrift Webinar. Okay. Okay. But that's not really a good practice, right? We talked about that. We don't want to link to it. So what I want to do is I want to embed it in there. There's a few resources that we have that we can use. So let me pause the shit. Let me see what the question is. There's a question. So right now, Mary, yes, we're using this. We just took our multimedia shell and we're using it for our project. At the end, I might just take off the hyphen shell of the folder title. It doesn't matter what I call it. I might copy and paste it. There's a lot of different things I can do to make it a separate folder. I'll talk about that a little bit more as we move through.
Sorry, Dr. Hartshorn, one additional question with that. Do you have to make it, save it as a different file name, or is it okay to leave it? So is it okay if you overwrite what you did for the multimedia shell and just add to it, or is there a reason that you're saving it potentially underneath a different name?
No, the only reason I'm saving it as a different name is to illustrate growth. So if I'm changing the design here, then I would go and change the name to show updated content. If I wanted to illustrate both, like here's what I started with, here's what I ended with, I might just copy it right now before I started doing all these new changes, and then work from that folder. Okay? So it's up to you. It's completely fine to just have everything in your shell folder. So I'm going to stop here. We'll stop the share here, and I'm going to go pull up some options that we have here. So with audio, we have a couple of really cool options. Number one is a tool called SoundCloud. So if you recorded your audio project, and then you can go here, create a site, create a free account, upload it, and then you have the track. So I have this track called Multimedia Overview that I'm going to put there. And to do that, I'm just going to click on the share icon. And notice that it gives me all of these options here. So I see that I have Twitter. So if I want to share a link, I can share a bunch of different links here. But up here, I also have embed. So I'm going to click.
We're not seeing what you're looking at.
Well, that is y'all's problem. I'm just kidding. Hold on a second.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me back out. Let me back out a little bit. So there's this tool called SoundCloud.com, and there's a number of different versions of some similar type things, but SoundCloud's nice and easy to use. So here I can just go select. I have this multimedia. So I recorded some audio. I went here. I uploaded it. This is sort of my library of audio. So I click on the share icon, and I see I could share links, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, email. But I also see this embed link here, or embed text. So what I do is I have this code here. I just select it and copy it. And then what it does is I'm going to go to where I want let me go back to Kompozer. So stop share. Kompozer. So here, I'm going to go down here. I want my code to be here. So I'm going to go in my code, because I copied embed code. So if I just paste it here, that's probably not good, right? Make sense that you don't want your code on the actual page. So what I'll do is maybe I'll just go to highlight this audio here, and then go down below it, maybe hit enter and paste it there. And let's see what happens. So now it says Kompozer can't securely to blah, 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 because the site uses secure protocol, which is enabled. That's fine. So the code is fine. It's should be there. Yeah, so the code is there. So when I upload it, it will be visible. Okay, it just won't be visible now. And then another option I have, I'm going to undo that one though. It's fine. It will appear. Then the other option is y'all are seeing nothing right now, right?
No, we see your screen.
Kompozer.
Okay, so you're still seeing Kompozer. Okay, give me a second here. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to share my screen entirely and just share the whole desktop. So that way I'm not going back and forth. Okay, so another option is embed code. And this is super easy. This is the w3c.org site. Darn it. So they have all of these embeds that you can just copy. And all I do is I just went to the embed audio element. And I'm just going to highlight this. And all you really need though is actually, well, let's go with this whole thing. So I'm going to go to Kompozer. Click where I want my, so then go down to the split area, go down to the code area. And actually that's, and paste it. Now, why are you trying to click something? So here the issue is that the source is currently /media/examples/trex.roar. So that was the example that they gave us. Well, what I want to do is just like I'm doing like an image, inserting an image, I need to find that, make that source be whatever the actual source is. So I'm going to go to, if I go to my files, it goes into audio, wait, yeah, where's that? MMShell. It goes into audio and it's called, I'm just going to change this to thrip.mp3. So here I would just change this source to audio/thrip.mp3. I don't know why it's trying to pull up SoundCloud each time, but oh, there we go. That's why. Let's try it now. Yeah, so here, listen, so it doesn't, so we don't even need this part. But we can leave that there. It won't pop up because our browser will support the audio element. So that's very quick and easy way to just simply update the audio and using a player. Okay. So now if we wanted to do video, so I'm going to go to a different page. So file open. So we're done with our intro page. We provided some audio for the users. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Then go and open the authoring page. So here, I want to provide a video on using a Maya, okay? So I found a YouTube video that's really cool on using a Maya. It's not, I don't even know what it's on. But what I can do is I go to YouTube. Let me delete this player here. Well, I go to YouTube and I'm just going to select this working with templates in Dreamweaver. So here, where's that? So here, again, I click on the share icon here, and it gives me Facebook, Twitter, all these things. But the first link here is embed. So I just click on the embed. I highlight this, copy it. Now, a couple of real quick things here. You can change the width and the height of the embed. So if it's too big in your site, you can modify it. You can also pick where it starts at. So here you could say like maybe the first 30 seconds is useless. So I want to start it at second 31. You could show player controls. Now notice when I put start at 31, it changed the code. So I would need to recopy this embed code if I wanted to do that. Then I just copy. Now I'll go back to Kompozer. And I'm going to paste this here. So I click on the split view. And down below here, just hit paste. And now I have, it's just not, we're not going to be able to watch it now, obviously, but so it's there. So let's say that's a little too big. Then all I would do is simply go into my, double click here, go to my split view, and modify the frame size. I would just kind of scroll through here and say, okay, it's 315 by 560. Well, I just want to cut each of those in half. So this would be 157 by 280. And it makes it half the size. So you can play around with that. So some other options with audio are you can directly also insert your PowerPoint into your web page. So down below here, so down in this cell, I want to insert my PowerPoint. Well, to do this, you upload it to Office 365, and I've logged into my Office 365 page. I just go to File and Share. And notice here it has the embed option. So I click embed, and then immediately it gives me some options. So it says 350 by 268. I have some bigger dimensions here. I like this smaller dimension, so I'm going to copy it. Then I'm going to go to my Kompozer page, right click. I'm sorry, I'm going to go to my source split view. And again, paste, click here. And you can't see it right now, but there, if we go to the code view or the split view in here, you see the PowerPoint, the iframe source, and the PowerPoint is there. So one of the problems with Kompozer is you can't preview it very easily, but it is there. Some other options that I wanted to highlight real quickly for video and integrating narrated presentations. One is called Author Stream. And this is it's sort of like what's cool about Author Stream is it automatically, so I upload the file and if it's a narrated PowerPoint, it automatically converts the narration for you. So here I have this presentation. I would navigate from slide to slide, and the audio, all I did was upload this. The audio transferred over automatically. Of course, it's not playing now, but it automatically transferred, and people can navigate through. I could share this. I could present it live. I could send it to YouTube. That strips the interactivity out of it, which is one of the problems with taking a recorded presentation, making it a video. It strips the interactivity. I have the embed code here, which has been disabled for my tools here. And then I also have the URL or even a thumbnail. So I have a lot of options here. Author Stream, it's free. Limited functionality is free. You can upgrade and do your own channel and customize and that sort of thing. But it's a quick and easy kind of tool there. Camtasia is a screen recording software that it's super easy to use, has some nice functionality and real easy video editor, but it does cost money. But there's a free trial that for, I think it's like a 30-day trial, but I could be wrong, at techsmith.com/Camtasia or download/Camtasia. And then another one is Loom, which is a cloud-based screen recording software. So you can kind of see the idea here. It puts your face here as a talking head, and then you can kind of talk and narrate as you want. So, and then you can get the embed code from it, embed it into your project, and you're good to go. Okay, so I know I'm running through a lot here. So any questions on any questions on the embedding aspect of things right now? I know there'll be questions that pop up, but anything right now?
Is there a way, instead of working with the code on the bottom of the page, and I know it seems easy just copying it down there, an alternative if we want to work within Kompozer besides just copying it in the code?
No, so one of the great things about Dreamweaver is it has like an audio player, like button, an HTML file player, and a video player. So it has a little bit more functionality in that regard. But you have to be able to kind of know where you want it to be. You can't in Kompozer and then paste that code. Once you paste the code though, you can kind of drag the item around on the screen. So if you don't like it exactly where it is, you can move it around a little bit, but you do have to kind of initially paste that code somewhere. You might even paste it outside the table and then drag it into a table cell or something, or a div or something like that. That's kind of up to you. But that's one of the problems with Kompozer, is that it is a little bit clunky in that regard.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Sure. So real quickly, I'm going to kind of leave the, and feel free to type in questions, or if you want to stop me, raise your hand and I'll try and recognize you. But I'm going to go to the portfolio now. So let me kind of minimize this, because we got about 19 minutes. So we'll go ahead and close this out. And we're going to open up. And I kind of went ahead and just whipped up a new template to start, not a template, a new shell sort of for the ePortfolio. So I'm good. Whoops, wrong one. And then we'll just open it. Okay, so we have our index page here. And all I did is I just kind of took our old portfolio and kind of tried to make it a little cleaner. This right here should fit in there, but I'm not sure why it's not. But here, to update the title page, we had most of this already previously. You know, I will provide you just want to introduce yourself, an overview of blah, 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 blah. If you wanted, you could do a nice little audio introduction. So, you know, maybe I have on SoundCloud, I have an audio introduction. I would just go to my SoundCloud. Go to my demo narration, because that's the SoundCloud feature, or the SoundCloud content I want. Embed, copy, and then just go here and maybe go to split view and select this and then just paste. And it's going to tell me SoundCloud doesn't work, but it works just fine. All this is code, so the fact that the plug, it's not going to matter once it's uploaded on the web, because the web doesn't look at it as a file from Kompozer. The web looks at it as a web page. So they're totally independent. So I might put like a little audio introduction. You don't have to. You can just put some text there. That's up to you. And then my home page is done. So now I would go to my projects page. You go open. Open. So here, you know, I might get rid of this, maybe delete this a little bit. Welcome to my projects page. And then below our projects completed, blah, blah, blah. And then I might start with audio project, web shell, graphics layout, and multimedia project. Now for each of those, you're going to want to put a screenshot or a player. So with the audio, you might just embed the audio here using SoundCloud or that player, or you could do a screenshot of Audacity or something like that, and then go, this project used to, or this project illustrates audio editing in Audacity or blah, blah, blah. And, just give a little description, maybe work on the design a little bit. So maybe bold each of the names here. The web shell, I would just screenshot the web shell. So insert a screenshot here. And then below this project, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, get rid of the bold. I would also, so I want to make my link. So I would link the audio, I would embed the audio here, but for the web shell, I would make my link directly. So I would do insert hyperlink and make that link there. So I wouldn't use, Mary, I wouldn't use the logo, but I would use like a screenshot. So like the interface is open.
So you're saying like use a picture of that page.
Right. So like right now I have Kompozer open. So if I just do Apple Shift 4, take a screenshot here, and then go here to, let me put that in my, where's that? Screenshot. So then I would go to I would drag this into my images folder. Oh, I'm not, sorry, that's not I would drag this into my project images folder. And then I would just go here for web shell, insert, image, go to, boom, make sure I'm in the right one. So I'm in import HTML, project images, Kompozer. It's 20, that's a really big file. So I'm going to go ahead and change the dimensions right now to about 200. Just spitballing here. Oh, don't get old. My eyes are going. No, I didn't check. Okay, so yeah, so there, and we'll go. There we go. So that's all you would, and then you would make a link to it. But I would link to, like here, I would just go link, click here. So now I'm in HTML. I'll go to my multimedia shell and then just click index and have it open. Oops, not an email address. Have it open in a new window or a new tab and click OK. So now that we made the link relative. So, or I could go in and put in the URL. That would be fine. For the graphics layout media project, same thing. Do a screenshot here. Though maybe I don't need a screenshot because I'm going to embed it. So I would go to my PowerPoint. Sorry, wrong one. Go to my PowerPoint file, do the share, copy the embed code, go to below my graphics layout text. So here, click on the split view, and then just paste. And you can go in and modify the size of it very easily. And give your descriptions and all that stuff too. So then you're kind of done with that page once you get all that stuff done. Now, go ahead.
Does that allow the person to click on that PowerPoint project and it opens up?
It's embedded in the page. So yeah, when they click it, they can interact, click on the links, all that stuff. So it's a much more usable than like linking to it and then they have to download it and then, you know, that's so yeah. All right, so open, moving on. So readings page here. So here I'm just going to delete this. Welcome to my readings page. And then just put a little intro. And then I'll just put, you know, reading 1. Annotation. Reading, not that much space. Reading 2. Annotation. Reading 3. Annotation. 1. And make that a link. Annotation. 2. Annotation, etc. Okay.
And again, could you just explain the readings? I missed that when you were talking about it before.
Yeah, so just your readings that have been useful to you, either in this course, in your program, in your field of study, if you're not in instructional design and technology. So 3 readings, they can be things from this course, they can be, you know, things from the past that have been useful to you, whatever, it's totally up to you. But this is a professional document, so you don't want to put like, you know, obsolete, kind of irrelevant kind of things, things that aren't related to your professional world. Same thing with hyperlink, with the useful resources. So what are 3 resources that you found useful? Okay, they can be from this course, they can be, you know, whatever, anything. Okay, so then the readings page is done. So the resume, I'm going to go ahead and go to that one because we're running short on time here. So I'm going to go to the resume page. So the only other project page was the courses. And here I would just do the same thing kind of like with the readings here, maybe, but like, I know this isn't the courses page, but if it was the courses page, courses, and then maybe put like fall 2020. Course name, I'm not going to go in and edit that. Instructor, annotation, you know, and then course 2. And how many you took, you know, how would you figure it, and then maybe go into summer 2020. I would recommend like a reverse chronological order, and then do some headings and stuff here. I'm not going to save this one because I made changes to it. But, oops. And then the last one we'll open here is the resume. So here, I don't really need an introduction for this. So, but what I might do is click here for a printable version. And then I would let them know what style. And then I would just highlight and go to link, open, ePortHTML. I would find the file, there it is. And So it's not an email address. I don't care if it opens in a new window. I'm just going to say okay. And then what I would do is go to my resume. Open it. Highlight, just, whatever. I'll highlight the first page. I'm just going to highlight that much. And then just paste. So you can see the formatting is not good at all. So like here, I have this different spacing. So I would work on a format that works for that. So maybe.
Just fixing it right there on that page.
What's that? Yeah, just paste it and then go in and format it. Okay, so here, maybe center this, maybe make it bold. Maybe center my contact information, and then everything else would be left hand, left. You want to give different headings, heading levels, so there's a clear hierarchy and that sort of thing. So, you want to be consistent with the spacing and all of that. So here it's all there, but then they also have this printable version if they wanted to go click on that. So I just go click save. And so I'm done. And now that I am done, I want to go see it all, right? So I open up my CyberDuck. I open the connection. The server is rhartshorn.com. And my username, and then I think that's right. Let's see. Continue. All right, so I don't know what my password is. So it would, give me a second, y'all. I'll try and get this done real quick. One moment, I'm looking. Okay, close. Okay, so there we go. So I want to replace this shell and replace the multimedia. So I just go to my sites folder and I drag in my new MM shell, and it's going to say, hey, this already exists. Continue. It should say, hey, do you want to exist? Do you want to override it? I'm going to go continue. And then I'm going to upload my new ePortfolio HTML. Continue. Okay, so the new shell's done. And so it looks like they're getting there. So now I want to pull this up. So my URL is always going to start with rhartshorn.com /summer-2020 / my username, which is Doc Hartshorn. And then it's going to go out from there. So this is sort of my desktop, but my remote desktop starting point. And I'm just going to click, so ePort-HTML and then index/index.html. So let's go ePort-HTML/. And then we have this nice little audio that I embedded.
Hello, everybody, and
So that was the SoundCloud that it told me wasn't going to work, and it worked just fine. So I click on my projects. I have my nice little graphics. So I would probably want to click on that. Probably want to, so I click on those links. You can see how they're kind of working there. I'd probably want to left justify that, maybe work on the size of these two to make them similar. That I didn't do the audio embed, but it would work. Courses, I didn't do anything with that one. Readings, I kind of started with that, and then my resume. Click on the Word document. I'm good to go. More. So there we go. And then if I wanted to pull up my multimedia shell, it's just mmshell-shell/index.html. So I'm just going to actually replace the ePort in the URL because that's the only real difference.
That's what I get all the time.
Well, I was on the resume page, so it went to the index. All right. So did I not call? Oh, I think I call it home. Or what I call it?
You need to set a base href. So you have to type that all in each time.
I know, yeah. Hartshorn, shell, index. I want to try authoring. Good. Oh, I think I have like an extra L there. That's what it was. All right. So then here I have my embed. I have my file there. Go to home. There's my audio. It's not linked, so I got to go in and figure out what the issue is. But if I had that audio there, so there's an issue. Oh, I changed the name of it. That's the problem. So I changed the name of it, but didn't change the link on either of them. Okay, y'all. It looks like everyone in the other one is waiting on me. So, oh, there we go, Aaron. Thanks for noticing that. I'm gonna go. I mentioned this earlier. I'm gonna have a Q&A on Thursday, so I'll post the URL for that. It'll just be an hour long, totally optional, completely up to y'all. Also, Raymond asked a question earlier before we started. Do you have to do the CSS templates and that sort of thing? The answer is no. You can do just the basic HTML, what we did, and that's kind of why I chose that format for tonight. But if you are interested in kind of doing the CSS, I will be doing that in the Dreamweaver one. So the big difference will be only go and do that if you're comfortable with the differences between Dreamweaver and Kompozer. Okay, sorry I didn't have more time to get the questions, but Thursday will be a specific Q&A for that. So I'll post that in the announcements, and I'll record that if you want. If you want to send me questions ahead of time, but you're unable to make it, I will try to address those questions. And then next week will be a Q&A only. It will just be, it'll be a sort of a help session for wrapping up the multimedia project and the ePortfolio. And I won't have any agenda. I'll just kind of open it up to y'all, and I'll do demos and that sort of thing. And so if you have a starting point, I can kind of show you individual things. And then I'm also available individually. All right, peace out.
Sorry, one question. Do we have a confirmation code, or do we just take it from the archive presentation?
The confirmation code is McFly. Okay, we'll go with McFly.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, y'all. Have a great night.